Well, hello, and welcome back to the channel once again. Those of you that are watching that know me are wondering, why do I do this to myself? I actually already own another one of these. I've had it for a long time, and I never drive it, hardly work on it, so I bought one that doesn't drive and needs a lot of work. After 10 years in a patch of weeds with an allegedly blown engine that knocks and doesn't fire, and wires are chewed off, brakes don't work, vacuum lines are chewed off, gas tank's bad, it's full of water and mold. So I guess the odds are against me. So we're just gonna see if it actually possibly runs again, because YouTube video. So let's see what happens. So for those of you that aren't familiar with what this is a 1977 Porsche 924. I've known about this car for a long time. It was always for sale, and then it wasn't for sale, and it was for sale, and it wasn't for sale. And then the guy I bought it from sold it to his, I guess, brother-in-law or somebody, and he was doing some engine work and allegedly left the wrench on top of the motor and was cruising down the road, and wrench fell down into the pulleys, and there was a bang, and it all stopped. So he got it back, tried to make it run, got discouraged, and just threw it in the weeds until we forklifted it out of its grave, went around to the trailer, and plopped its sorry ass down here in an attempt to possibly save it. And when we got it, the engine was seized. It's not seized anymore, and we'll get to that process here in a minute. We were hoping that the engine's not bad. And even if it is, I may have leads on a different one, or an engine swap, or if it just runs long enough to maybe go do some donuts in the marsh. I don't know. Inside is pretty grubby. One nice thing, it's fairly solid. It was actually originally an Arkansas car, so I didn't really see salt. I don't think the guy before me really used it into salt at all. I mean, underneath it's just dirty, but fairly immaculate for what it is. So we'll go back in time here a little bit. I'll show you the whole breaking the engine free scenario. When we come back, we're gonna see if we can make it fire up or something. Engine is severely seized. So I'm going to do, pull the spark plugs out, run the borescope down there and see if there's any kind of damage in the cylinders, whether it's water damage or mechanical damage. Maybe a valve broke, maybe a piston exploded, like you say. I don't know what happened. There was a bang and it all quit. Firing order, doesn't matter, because, well, I might have already took care of my spark plug wires. Well, number one looks real great. Not sure what that's all about, but there's definitely moisture in it. I've got the plugs out here. Number 1 and 2, not good. 3 and 4 look pretty good. So I'm betting our seized up issue is definitely one of those, or both, probably both. So let's grab the borescope and see how that's looking. Alright, well, as you can see, exhaust valve open. That explains the moisture, how that got inside the cylinder. And I believe those are cobwebs. Nice. As far as damage goes, I'm guessing that's just corrosion pitting on top of the piston. The cylinder walls look pretty good. A little bit of scratching, but that's to be had. Let's change view on the camera. Oh boy. Goodness gracious, what in the hell? What is that? What am I looking at here? That is some severe carbon? What was that shit? Cylinder is pretty heavily scored. There is some heavy damage in there. Well, whew. Let's go on to number 2. Well, definitely same issue on this one with the moisture. Valve open. Go for number 3. Boy, there is some heavy scoring in these cylinders. That's very concerning. Something happened to this thing. Either it overheated, or it ran out of oil. I don't know if you can really tell in there at all, but not much moisture in that one, but definitely a lot of heavy scoring. Well, even if this thing were to run, it's going to run terrible, and it's probably going to smoke really bad. Alright, well, definitely it ain't good in there. Probably the best option would be pull the head off, clean it out good, but there's allegedly a rod that's possibly out of it, or a bent rod, or a bent crankshaft, or whatever. All the crud in number 1 cylinder, I'm guessing it's just a bunch of carbon or just crud that got in there or whatever. It doesn't look like any valves are busted or anything like that. So my hope is to just fill the cylinders up with junk and see if it just softens everything up and it just kind of blows it out the spark plug hole and we turn it over when it finally breaks free. Let's dump the juice down in there and leave it for a little while and see what happens. Alright, well, plan here is soaker down with the PV blaster. I should be able to unload this whole can amongst all 4 cylinders. They're not very big, so gotta get that shot around in there and then top them off with the mystery oil. Then I'm just gonna put the plugs back in and let it sit for, thinking about it, it's probably gonna be like a month. So hopefully by then it loosens all that stuff up, creeps down past the pistons and loosens everything up. Also had to run to town for a new can of this. Wonder what happened to the one we had.
Oh my god!
That's right. We blew it up. Well, the cylinders have been soaking for about a week and a half. Got my ratchet and my torque amplifier here. Let's see if it turns over. Wow. I'm gonna try to put it in gear and rock it back and forth method. First gear. Put a little mark here on the camshaft gear. It's lined up somewhat with the pointer there. I think it might have moved a little bit. Update. After 800,000 times shoving her back and forth, I think it moved a thousandth of an inch. Fourth attempt is soaking down the cylinders. Fourth gear, normal cub. I don't know, let's see what happens. Alright, well at this point it's been about a month since we soaked this engine down and repeatedly soaked this engine down with PB Blaster and whatnot. So this is like attempt number 8 to get this thing broke free. I'm going to give her one more try at the crank and then do the rocker back and forth. And if that doesn't do it, I think we're just going to pull the starter out and start prying on the ring gear. Hey, I'm trying to shut up. Better than Harbor Freight jack stand. Alright, here's the current situation. Forgot about the big inspection cover they have. So, conveniently I have a clutch bolt to pry on here. And to pry on here. You know, yeah, the starter's got to come out, but if she really is truly blowed up, then you got to worry about, you know, getting into that. So I got a big tire bar, some other pry bars, and we'll just go back and forth until maybe it finally breaks free. I guess the barrel's cooling down for the day. Oh! That didn't sound good. Look at that. Well, I think we might be getting places. It did slightly move a little bit more. Well, alright, so I should have took this a little bit easier. You get a big rust ridge in them cylinders, and you just start reefing on it. You know, the chances are you're going to bust some rings. You got to go back and forth and back and forth. But judging by how the cylinders left, the rings ain't that good to begin with. So either she'll have compression or she won't. Wow. There it goes. Well, there we are, making full rotation, easy as could be. Doesn't sound like anything's busted in the bottom end. so that's good. Nothing really seems like it's making noise, so I don't know. Also, it's turning really easy because the spark plugs are just, well, 2 threads in there, so all the compression's leaking right past them, if it has any compression. I don't know. So there we go. Well, about to perform the last test here to make sure that this motor has any chance of running. Now that it's free, we got to see if it's got some compression. I have not messed with the starter wires yet, and as you can tell, turning over with the key is not an option, so a chain and the Farmall Cup blow boy, I guess, is the option. I'm just going to throw it in first gear, pull it a few feet, and check the gauge, but number 1 and number 3 are the 2 cylinders I'm worried about the most, because heavy gunk, minor scoring, minor gunk, heavy scoring on number 3. 2 and 4, not so bad. First gear, yep, we are. Well, that ain't great, but I definitely heard a knock. I wonder if there ain't something bent on number 1. Oh, I should also state that I pulled it around a little bit with the plugs out to blow all the gunk out of it, but it definitely sounds like a knock. Oof. Now let's try number 2. Alright, well, update, I pulled it further and faster. A little over 100 pounds, and the knocking went away. I wonder if it ain't got a valve hanging up, judging by the horrible sound it was making. I don't know. I guess I'll push her back to the beginning of the runway and try number 2. Almost 150 on that one. Well, it makes sense that number 1 be a little bit low, but if she runs, that may clean itself up, just the carbon and the rings being all screwed up. Let's go for 3. Alright, well, that's good news. I'm surprised that had any compression at all. Let's go on to number 4. Yes, 3 out of 4, pretty good. I think I'm going to try number 1 one more time and just see if it gets a little bit more now that it's turned over a few times. Maybe she finally loosened up. Let's try number 1 one last time. Hey, well, number 1, it's still around 100. Really smells in there. If you think of it, hit the subscribe button. Today's video is brought to you by a public service announcement. Eat less, exercise more. Alright, well, it's the next day. Again, but progress was made. Got the brand new battery cables in there. Well, one used when I got out of the junker, and then one brand new. As you remember, those were all chewed off. Kind of crudely got these wires repaired. New plug wires and new plugs. Threw on a new used timing belt that looked a little better than the one that was on there. Verified that the timing was correct. Threw the water pump pulley on, and then the pulley I got off the junker for down there is incorrect. It's actually supposed to have a whole nother V on the outside, and it's just plain gone. Can't find it anywhere in here. So that must have been from the damage it sustained with the wrench or the floor jack hitting it or whatever happened. We're actually ready to hook the battery up for the first time, which, you know, kind of a scary moment on a mouse infested wire chewed car. Still smells like moldy death in there. And there's actually slugs living on the floor. Oh my goodness. Ugh. Yuck. Fortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to actually run it completely and be able to drive it around because the fuel pump was bad. That was down in there. Luckily, I found it with an empty tank and the wires cut to the fuel pump, which makes me believe that they just ran 12 volts to it and pumped out whatever gas that was in there before they parked it, which was really lucky because these tanks, you know, there's the lowest sump of it right there, and next to it is a transmission. These tanks kind of go up and around, and I think they're a real pain to get out of there. So judging by how it looked when I scoped it earlier this summer and what I found today, tanks should be good. I do, however, have the fuel pump soaking with PB Blaster, so I don't know, I beat that thing on the ground, hit it with a hammer, shot 12 volts to it, and it just smokes. So I'm guessing it's bad. We can least ways probably shoot some kind of flammable liquid probably into this port here, because this here is actually a fuel or a cold start regulator. It's actually a miniature electric fuel injector that fires at cold starts. Just shoots a little bit of fuel in there and gets it running and gets this wonderful piece of engineering fuel system going. Because if those don't work, they start, but they start really, really hard. So anyway, go ahead and hook that battery up and see if this thing starts on fire. Which reminds me, probably have that handy. All right. Well, no smoke. That's good. I guess I'll go ahead and see what all works on this thing. Oh, that's funny. You turn the headlights on, the glove box light comes on. Wonder if that's normal. Pop-up lights do not come up. It's amazing that even works. Look at that. Even got taillights. I believe that's supposed to light up, but maybe it doesn't. Oh, that one's out. That one's on, that one's on. Alright, well, it's a pretty easy fix if the headlights don't come up. Here's the motor. This should just slide off, but it was stuck. And you just should be able to turn this little dial. Oh, there they go. Got none headlights. Maybe the switch has got to be on. I don't remember. I should know. I've had one of these for a long time. Oh, there we go. We got one. What about brights? Nothing there. Okay. Holy crap. It's a loud horn. Radio. Power. Where's power? Power on off. Guess that doesn't work. I don't want to know. I don't want to have anything blow out of that dash at me. No wipers. See if it turns over with the key. See what happens. That doesn't sound good. Smells something hot. Okay, so it knocks a little bit. Now the horn died. Huh. Well, that's slightly disappointing. But I guess we knew it had a chance of knocking, so there it is knocking. But will it run? See if that does the trick. What happened? Did cough a little. That was pretty cool. Alright, ignition's on. Got my trigger hooked up. What's going on? Uh-oh. That's probably gonna start on fire. Disable! Turn it on! It's full of surprises. I don't know, I pulled the fuse for the blower motor, it still runs. So that's weird. Found a loose ground cable on the head. I don't know if it was causing it to lose a little bit of spark or... Oh, I can't imagine why that didn't spin very nice. That was a big red wire. Did that shut it up? Okay, eliminated that problem. Well, I think it's flooded. Apparently, carb cleaner is not as flammable as it used to be. So meanwhile, let's see if the fuel pump comes back to life. Alright, well, step one, I soaked it. Step two, I'm going to hit it. Step three, I'm just going to put 12 volts to it again, see what happens. Probably nothing. Junk. Alright, well, one last final attempt at making this thing fire up for more than 2 seconds. I think she's done, boys. Well, guess that's it. Well, I guess I'm going to call it on this one for now. Current diagnosis is that in order for it to run, it needs a new fuel pump and a new engine. But I guess that's the chance you take when you buy a car from somebody and they say the engine's bad. Chances are the engine's bad. But in all reality, it did sputter a little bit, so I guess there's a little bit of a win there. And you know, what do you do? But I guess for now, the decision's in your hands. Comment down below. What do we do with it? I do have a pretty good stockpile of tannerite. But I guess until the next time, we'll see you later. Thanks for watching and have a good one.